Did you know that 85% of people feel like they're not living up to their creative potential? It's true. Most of us struggle to tap into our full creativity, but the real problem is often overthinking. We get stuck in our heads, second-guessing every idea, and never taking action. In fact, a study by the University of California found that overthinking leads to paralysis, where we can't move forward because we're too busy trying to make everything perfect. But what if I told you that your creativity is already there, waiting to be unleashed? You're not broken, you're just overthinking it. In this video, I'll show you simple but powerful strategies to break free from overthinking, stop waiting for inspiration, and start creating like you were meant to. If you're ready to stop feeling stuck and start bringing your ideas to life, this is the video for you. Let's dive in and unlock your creative potential. Chapter 1. The Trap of Perfection. Why your best ideas are getting blocked. When it comes to creativity, perfection is the enemy. We often get stuck in the trap of thinking that our ideas need to be flawless from the start. But here's the truth: perfectionism kills creativity. A study from the University of California found that perfectionism leads to procrastination and inaction, both of which block the creative flow. It's easy to think that every idea must be brilliant, but that's just pressure we put on ourselves. The key is to embrace imperfection. Look at the world's most successful creators, like Steve Jobs or Walt Disney. They didn't start out perfect. In fact, they failed many times before getting it right. Perfection is not when there is no more to add, but when there is nothing left to take away, said Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. This quote perfectly captures the idea that creativity is about refinement, not perfect beginnings. Try this. Start creating without worrying about mistakes. Doodle. Write rough drafts. Get messy. The beauty of creativity is that you can always improve, but you need to start somewhere. Don't let the fear of imperfection stop you from expressing yourself. It's often in the mess that the best ideas emerge. Studies show that creativity thrives in environments where we feel free to fail. The brain's creative centers activate when we allow ourselves to take risks and make mistakes. So, let go of the idea that your first draft needs to be a masterpiece. It doesn't. Chapter 2. Stop waiting for inspiration. The truth about creative blocks. How often do you hear someone say, "I'm waiting for inspiration"? The problem with waiting for creativity to strike is that you're putting yourself in a passive position. Waiting for the perfect moment or a burst of inspiration often results in a total creative freeze. In reality, creativity doesn't work like that. A study published in Psychology of Aesthetics, Creativity, and the Arts found that people who consistently try to force creativity are less likely to be successful. The key to overcoming this is simple: don't wait for the spark. Create even when you don't feel like it. The famous author, Stephen King, said, "Amateurs sit and wait for inspiration, the rest of us just get up and go to work." It's a mindset shift that can change everything. Creative people don't sit around waiting, they create daily, whether they feel inspired or not. Try setting a daily goal to create, even if it's just a small step, like writing a paragraph or sketching for 10 minutes. Over time, you'll build momentum and the inspiration will come. Data backs this up. A study from Harvard Business Review shows that consistent, small actions lead to greater creativity over time. When you make creativity a daily habit, it becomes easier to get into the flow. So, stop waiting, just start creating. Chapter 3. Thinking in circles. Why planning can be your worst enemy. We've all been there. Overthinking every detail, trying to plan every step before we begin. While planning is important, overdoing it can actually kill creativity. If you've ever spent hours drafting the perfect plan, only to get stuck before you even start, you're not alone. According to Inc. magazine, 42% of creative professionals say that overthinking holds them back. Planning, when done excessively, traps you in a loop. Instead of diving into the process, you're stuck trying to figure out every angle first. You end up second-guessing yourself and creating barriers to spontaneous thinking. But the truth is, creativity thrives on experimentation, not on overthinking. Take a cue from Pixar. When they create a new film, They don't start with a perfect script. They start with ideas, rough sketches, and improvisation. They don't spend months planning every scene to perfection before beginning production. They dive in and adjust along the way. A study by the University of Oxford found that creative individuals often take a more flexible, less rigid approach to problem solving. They embrace uncertainty and are open to making changes as they go. Instead of planning every step, allow yourself to explore and adapt as you create. If you find yourself spending too much time planning, try setting a timer. Give yourself 15 minutes to sketch out a basic idea, and then jump into the work. You'll be surprised at how much freer and more creative you feel without overthinking the details. The best results often come when we embrace the unknown and trust the process. Remember, creativity isn't about having all the answers before you start. It's about figuring them out as you go along. So, stop overthinking. Start doing. If you're enjoying this content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We have plenty more strategies to help unlock your creativity. Chapter 4. Break free from the rules. Creativity lies in the chaos. We've all been told that there are rules to creativity, that there's a right way to do things. But what if those rules are actually limiting your creativity? What if the best ideas come from breaking the norms and embracing chaos? Creative minds like Pablo Picasso and Albert Einstein didn't follow conventional rules. They thrived by thinking outside the box. In fact, a study published in Frontiers in Psychology found that creative individuals often embrace unpredictability and chaos. By breaking free from rigid structures, they are able to think more freely and come up with innovative ideas. Creativity doesn't follow a straight line. It zigzags, jumps, and sometimes gets messy. Take the example of improv comedy. Comedians rely on spontaneity and chaos to create something new and funny. There's no script, no rules, just pure, unfiltered creativity. The best comedic moments come when people break free from expectations. The same principle applies to any creative process. To unlock your creativity, try tossing the rules out the window. Set time limits, switch up your environment, or create without a clear direction. Embrace the mess. Studies show that our brains become more creative when we engage in activities that involve unpredictability. Creativity grows when we let go of control. You don't need a blueprint to start, just begin, and let the journey unfold. The process of creating with freedom is where true innovation happens. Think of creativity as a playground, not a test. Chapter 5. The power of silencing your inner critic. Unlocking creative flow. If you've ever sat down to create, only to be overwhelmed by a voice in your head telling you, it's not good enough, you're not alone. That inner critic can be one of the biggest barriers to creativity. Research from the University of Sheffield shows that self-criticism can block creative thinking by activating areas of the brain associated with fear and anxiety. The key to silencing your inner critic is to shift from a judgmental mindset to a playful, experimental one. When we let go of fear and embrace a sense of curiosity, we open the door to creative flow. The author and creativity expert Julia Cameron, in her book The Artist's Way, suggests adopting a beginner's mind, where you focus on the process, not the outcome. A study from Harvard University found that people who practice mindfulness have higher levels of creativity because they're able to shut down self-judgment and stay in the present moment. Mindfulness techniques, like deep breathing and body awareness, can help reduce the influence of the inner critic. One simple strategy to silence your critic is to create without any expectations. Give yourself permission to make bad art, knowing that the goal is to explore, not to be perfect. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes to quiet the self-doubt and embrace a flow of ideas. Another technique is to talk back to the inner critic. Whenever you hear that negative voice, counter it with positive affirmations. Tell yourself, I'm allowed to create without judgment, and see how your ideas start to flow more easily. Chapter 6. Ditching the comparison game. Why your unique journey is key to creativity in today's digital world. It's easy to compare your creative work to others. Social media is flooded with perfect images, polished designs, and seemingly flawless projects. But comparison can be toxic to creativity. A 2018 study from Psychological Science found that constantly comparing yourself to others reduces motivation and fosters a negative self-image, both of which stifle creative expression. The truth is, no one else has the same life experiences, ideas, or perspective as you. Your creative journey is unique to you, and it's important to honor that. Instead of looking at other people's work for validation, focus on your own growth and exploration. Brené Brown, in her book The Gifts of Imperfection, says, "You are imperfect, you are wired for struggle, but you are worthy of love and belonging." This quote is a reminder that your creativity is enough, just as it is. The best creative work comes from embracing your individuality, not trying to copy someone else's path. To break free from the comparison trap, try unfollowing accounts that make you feel inadequate. Surround yourself with people and content that inspire you, but don't cause you to feel less than. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small, and trust that your unique voice will stand out. Another way to combat comparison is to focus on your own process, rather than the end result. When you start to measure your success by the joy of creating, rather than by how your work compares to others, you'll find that your creativity becomes more authentic and fulfilling. And remember, comparison is often based on incomplete information. What you see online is just a snapshot, not the full picture. Embrace your creative journey, and know that the only comparison that matters is to your own growth and progress. If you're finding these strategies helpful, make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our upcoming content on unleashing your creativity. Creativity is yours for the taking, and we'll help you break free from the mental barriers holding you back.